confirmation of his conversion last night when he received his tallis. And so this is, of course, a family affair in every aspect of the ceremony, as you'll hear more at this moment. So John wanted to make sure that moment happened, and so beautiful that it was. We begin with Havdalah, with the separation between Shabbat and the rest of the week. It is also a separation between the holy and the everyday. This is also a moment that's a separation between your lives into this moment and your lives after your Jewish wedding. And you decide what that's going to look like. When we think of Havdalah, we think about the separation between holy and everyday. But if we think about our lives, we know that there is always holy in the everyday. And your job as a couple is to make sure you help each other find the holy in the everyday. But there is also every day in the holy. And your job as a couple is to make sure that you're able to push back that every day so that you can make sure that you bring the holiness to light. So this ceremony not only officially ends Shabbat, but reminds us of those times of holiness and every day that somehow intermingle, and we still acknowledge the reality as well as the heightened moments of both. So we'll join in singing and celebrating Havdalah.
And I invite you, if you all know the Debbie Freeman's tune for our Havdalah blessings, we hope that you'll join us.
Before we actually start Havdalah, as I looked at the Havdalah set, I wanted to also mention, which y'all can't see from there, it's a beautiful Havdalah set, but there's one thing there that does not look like the others. So there is a Kiddush cup there that does not match the set. And one of the things that we talked about in your ceremony is that we would bring ritual items that meant something that was special to your family. So there will be opportunities for drinking out of 3 Kiddush cups that are special to all of you. So the first Kiddush cup is the Kiddush cup, Becky, from your family, that your dad Ira drank from every Shabbat, right? And so when I thought about that, and that is part of Havdalah and the holy and the everyday, I thought about, of course, how proud he would be, how proud he is of you, Becky, his daughter, and how proud he is of you, John, who became not just his son-in-law, but his son. And how he would be beaming to see you under the chuppah.
Yeah.
told them not to drink too much for Havdalah. We had to extinguish the candle. As you heard Rabbi Rosen say, a Jewish wedding takes place under a chuppah, symbolic of a couple's home. It is open on all four sides, just as your home has been open to friends and family and animals of all kinds, and those in need, human and animals. The chuppah's presence above the bride and groom also symbolizes the Shekhinah, God's presence, God's indwelling presence, which stays close to you on this most magical and spiritual of days. There are many interpretations of this, and I'm going to actually go back to the circling, because there's a comparison between being under the chuppah and the circling that you did below. The chuppah with its open sides represents the interdependence between you as a couple and the entire community. But the circling, the circles that you made, marks off a holy and private space where only you, the bride and groom, stand. And we need both in our lives, times with community, with the open sides, and times with that holy space just for you. This chuppah is incredibly special, extra special. Of course, John and Jacob made it from trees on the farm. It is covered by Sheila's wedding dress and Becky's wedding dress, obviously not the one she's wearing, from the first wedding, and also from beautiful fabric from John's mother as well. So it really encompasses all of the family. And anyone who has been and will be married under this chuppah will have their names burned into the sides, as Jacob and Sierra's is, and already John and Becky. So don't go run, because it's already there. It's too late, right? So you are surrounded by loved ones whose joys and prayers are with you here as you stand under this chuppah. May your home be a shelter against the storm, a haven of peace, of shalom, a haven of wholeness as well, and a place of faith and love. We turn now for our prayer, for our scene, a prayer of engagement. Engagement used to happen a year before, or 20, how many years? 20, no, how long did you propose before the wedding? 28 years ago, right? But we're going to do it at this ceremony also. So this second glass, very special to John and his childhood, as he remembered it as part of his family and his home throughout his childhood. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotah, v'hiter lanu et hanisu'im v'nisu'ot lanu, al yidei chupah v'kedushin. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh amo Yisrael, al yidei chupah v'kedushin. We praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and consecrates this marriage. We praise you, Adonai, our God, who sanctifies our people through Kiddushin, the sacred rite of marriage at the chuppah. So I get to say just a few words to you at this beautiful and holy moment as we, family and friends, celebrate this next step in your journey together. As we said 27 years ago, you could have had a Jewish wedding. I mean, you could have found a rabbi to do that, and you could have done that then. But all things come in their own time. And you weren't ready then. You may not have known that, but you weren't ready then. Because, and I want to be really clear about this, this wedding is not happening just because John formally embraced Judaism. a life, of course, that you had been living long before you formally did it, right? This Jewish wedding represents the way that the two of you want to live now, the way you want to live out the rest of your marriage, infused with holiness and ritual, acts of loving kindness, challah baking. Were these things happening before? Yes, but they're really different now. I can't explain how, you can't explain how, your children can't explain how, but they are just different now. And so that's what this ceremony also represents. Now, I usually say things about the couple partly to show that I know them. I know John and Becky. You all know John and Becky. So I'm going to share it in a different way. All right. So I want to talk about light and fire. All right. There are many different kinds of lights and fire in Judaism. The first is obvious, Shabbat candles. Shabbat candles signify the start of the holiest time in the Jewish calendar, even though it happens weekly. It teaches that holiness happens a lot in life, right? It happens weekly, so holiness happens a lot in life, also in relationships, but we have to kindle it, and we can't blow it out. The next is the Havdalah candle, like we just lit. That also is another transition time. There are many wicks, they are twisted and intertwined. There is more light when we are wrapped up in each other, in friends and family, when we depend on each other. And of course, when the Craigs and the Rubens and the whole extended family get together, it's like one of those ginormous Havdalah candles that have all those wicks twisted around, and you light it, and it like totally has this huge flame. And it's beautiful and crazy and chaotic and wonderful all at the same time. And then there are the Hanukkah lights. There's an understanding that the reason that the Hanukkah lights are lit first one night, two the next night, there's a whole debate about it, which I won't go into. But the reason that it won that way is because we always increase in holiness. So that's one of my prayers for you, that throughout your life, may you continue to increase in goodness and love and joy and holiness. May it just move upward as the lights of the Hanukkah candle. There's, of course, the Ner Tamid, which is right above us. The Ner Tamid is dependable. It's a great description for what you have been for each other up until now and what we know will happen, especially in difficult times. And there have been just too many, right? But just like the Ner Tamid is always on, you have always been there and dependable for each other. You've never turned that care and love for each other off, just as the Ner Tamid has always been on. And then we get to our Torah portion, Maha'alotcha, because we just did Havdalah and I missed Naso with the priestly benediction, which is the best one. Thanks a lot, Robert. You got that one last night. No, our Torah portion, Maha'alotcha, was the reason that I did this because it begins with light, and later on there's light as well. It starts with the lighting of the menorah, and it literally says when you cause the lights on the menorah to ascend. People don't usually translate it that way because what does that mean? It means may you always raise each other up through your support and care. So not only may the light ascend, but may you help each other ascend. But then comes my favorite, which is how God leads the Israelites through the wilderness and during the day as a pillar of cloud and during the night as a pillar of fire. And it just seemed to me that it says that when we are in relationship with each other, that we need to be there for the other just as they need us. The Israelites didn't need fire during the day, but they did at night. The cloud led them during the day, and that was enough. So just as you have for each other to this moment, been there for each other as the other needed, so may you continue to do that in the future. You have a long and proven history of all of these things. It hasn't been perfect, because that would not be a true marriage. It wouldn't be real. but we all expect that your relationship will continue to grow as you guide each other, bring light to your lives and the lives of others, and all love you and ascend in holiness. So I end with this poem, which is also about light, by Hatis. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky. Amen. So now we move from here to the ring ceremony. And before we bring the rings over, I just want to share a little bit about it, because I said that everything in the ceremony has meaning to it, and it's all about family. So the ring that John will wear is from his great-grandfather. And I asked him how many years were on that ring before he wore it. 57 years of marriage. And the ring that Becky will use in this ceremony was a ring that Ira bought for Sheila to use in their wedding ceremony. So they're all very special. So the rings that you bring with you today serve as a symbol of the bond of marriage. They represent the gifts of love and devotion and faithfulness, and the gift of the continued future which you bring to each other's hands. The rings are circles, they have no end. Like the love they represent, let the love they stand for be a love without end. So you'll bring the rings forward. John, if you will place the ring on the finger of the one you love, and repeat after me. This ring as my life, in keeping with the heritage of Moses and Israel. All right, Becky, if you will put the ring on the finger of the one you love and repeat after me. Hooray. Ata. Nikudash. Li. Itabaat. Zo. Kedat. Moshe. V'Yisrael. Be consecrated to me with this ring as my husband, in keeping with the heritage of Moses and Israel. We move here, from here to the 7 wedding blessings, because it just makes sense from this moment that we move to blessing. The 7 wedding blessings are really taking us from the kind of grand statement of blessing of humanity, and with each prayer it brings us closer to blessing bride and groom. And so Rabbi Rose and I will share it with you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
they will drink from this last glass of wine, and this Kiddush cup is one that all of their family, each one of them, has and shares together. We praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kol bara lekodo.
We praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose glory is revealed in all creation.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer ha'adam.
We praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of humanity.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tzarta adam b'tzamo, b'tzalto v'tavnito, v'hikimo mimenu b'yamin ad e'ad. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'adam.
We praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. You formed us in your image and implanted in us the blessing of life's ongoing renewal. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of humanity.
Sos tasif v'takel ha'kara, v'kibutz b'ameh l'tocha v'simcha. Baruch atah Adonai, mesamech Zion b'banecha.
Let Zion rejoice in her children's happy return. Blessed are you, Adonai. You allow those who have sown in tears to reap in joy.
Samech tsamach ve'eina hafi, v'samechcha yitzera, v'gan eden mikedem. Baruch atah Adonai, v'samech atan v'chala.
May these loving companions rejoice together with the joy you have set aside for them since the days of creation. Blessed are you, Adonai, who grants joy to this couple.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher baros hason b'simcha, natan v'chala. Ki ha'amina titza v'chedva, ahava v'chava, v'shalom v'reut. Me'ira Adonai Eloheinu, yishma b're'uta, v'chod Yerushalayim, kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatan v'kol kala, kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatan v'kol kala, kol metzilot chatanim mekubatam, v'nar'im misanet negiyatam. Baruch atah Adonai, v'samech chatan im hakala.
We praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of joy and gladness, love and companionship, laughter and song, pleasure and delight, harmony and celebration, peace and friendship. O God, may there forever be heard in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem the voices of joy and gladness, the voices of loving companions joined together in marriage, the voices of celebration and song. Blessed are you, Adonai, who causes this loving couple to rejoice together as one. I told them they could do that because I knew they needed it. So earlier before the ceremony, we had a special ceremony to sign the ketubah. I hope you'll take the opportunity to look at it. It's beautiful, and to read the words, which I'm not going to read now, but I'm just going to share just the very beginning because we all like to hear a little bit in Hebrew. אחד בשבת עשרה לחודש סיוון שנת 5,784 לבריאת עולם למניין שאנו מונים כאן בג'קסון, מיסיסיפי. החתן יוחנן שלום בן אברהם ושרה אומר לכלה, and you heard it, הרי את מקודשת לי בטבעת זו כדת משה וישראל. And then it continues. So basically, they're married here in Jackson, Mississippi, and the words that they say to each other, and then in English you can read the rest of what they committed to each other, which I invite you to do because it is not just beautiful in the artwork, but beautiful in the words presence of these witnesses and in keeping with Jewish tradition, you have spoken the words and performed the rites that unite your lives. Becky and John, you are now married as Jews, and have been married as you've been married as Jews have been married for centuries. So even though you were married before, now you're married as Jews. And by the rituals that you did and you performed, you made it so. So we take this moment now. We know that there are many people who we feel their presence and we wish they were with us here. So we take a moment of silence to ask for their blessing upon your marriage, and then we'll join as a community to ask another blessing upon it. With the priestly benediction from the portion last night, which John, you received, Becky, you have received at other times in your lives. Your children have also received it, and so it becomes part of our life cycle. When we say it, we ask for God to bless us, and it's always been when we say any blessing, it's never that we actually as human beings bless someone. The blessing is that may God bless us. But I learned recently that maybe that's not exactly true. That if we're partners with God in bringing blessing into the world, that maybe when we say, may God bless you, that we're really saying, may God and the whole community together bring this blessing into the world. So I'd like to think of it in that way as we share the priestly benediction with you. and be gracious unto you.
Isarnai panameleka, beyasenleka shalom.
May the divine presence always be with you, going with you as you take your love and your relationship into the world. As people experience your presence, may they experience the divine presence, and that will bring shalom, not just peace, but a wholeness into the world, as we experience the shalom now. And together we say, Amen. So just two more things to do. I mean, besides the party, right? One is the breaking of the glass. And there are so many traditions and understandings about why we do this. The one that I've heard most recently talks about that whenever there is oppression and pain in the world, that as Jews, that we are required to respond. As humans, of course, and as Jews. So when we think about the brokenness in the world, which there always is, that's what the breaking of the glass symbolizes. No matter what we do, there is brokenness. It's our job to respond to it. So we break the glass, acknowledge the reality of the world, and know that our job as individuals and you as a couple is to move forward and find where those broken pieces are and work to make this world a better place. So that's what that represents. So John, I'll give you the glass to break it, and don't forget to kiss after you break it. I don't think I